Oh, wait, is it gonna pick up the room audio?
That's just the array we want.
First, wave your hand.
Are we
Can you
clear?
hear us?
Yes?
Can you hear us?
Good. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you greatly for your patience. We're sorry, it is 25 minutes after 1. And this is the regularly scheduled August the 21st Albemarle County Electoral Board meeting. We are very happy that we have so many people on the electronic Zoom. We again appreciate your patience in getting our electronics set up. Thank you for not going away. And actually, we got a couple of extra people, so we're good. Thank you for the people that are in the room. The chairman will call the meeting to order, and we do have a quorum because we are all 3 members of the electoral board. I ask for a motion to approve the agenda as written. Yep. go ahead.
Add an item to the
Absolutely,
agenda,
absolutely.
to look
Under new
at,
business,
under new business, yeah,
okay?
to look at dividing up topical responsibilities among board members
Okay,
during this period.
all right. Any other new items you would like to add, Mr. Secretary?
Nope.
Okay,
I would just point of
Yes, ma'am.
clarification, there was no meeting on August 18th, so that should be.
Yeah.
okay,
You don't have minutes from it either.
Correct, there was no meeting, so.
I think I wrote down the wrong date, but I put this out, and I put down the wrong date. I'd like to ask our able counselor to introduce herself, please, for those of you who may not know.
My name's Andrea Rookie. I'm with the county attorney's office. I started in June. Previously, I was with the city of Chesapeake, so I'm happy to be here and be a support of the electoral board.
And we are happy to have you. Anyone else on the board need to make an announcement before I do? I'd like to announce, and it will be a brief announcement. The former General Registrar Lauren Eddy has submitted a letter of resignation, which was effective 12 August. The board has accepted her resignation, and we are now actively engaged in recruiting a new general registrar. The process is such that, as you all know, we are to quote Ante, perils head forward into perilous perdition, otherwise known as a general election in November. And we are recruiting 2 people, or possibly 1, if that happened. First, we need a temporary general registrar to fill in the gap, who can come in with all due haste and get us through this election. And then we need someone who wants to be the general registrar to fill the unexpired term, which ends in the summer of 2028. Both of these positions have been noted on both the general registrar listserv, which is an email serving all the general registrars, and the electoral boards for the entire state, and the full announcement and full application process for both of these positions is on the Albemarle County website. And we owe a great deal of gratitude to the HR head, Jessica Rice, who has been extremely helpful in getting this ball rolling. Anyone who fills out the application according to the directions will send it in, and it'll go to HR, and then it will be sent to the board, and we're going to discuss how we will get along and make make arrangements to review those applications.
One small correction.
Yes.
I think the general registrar's unfilled term will run until 27.
Did I say 28?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm still fixated on the fact that we've written down August the 18th, looking correctly. Thank you.
It's a good number.
Thank you. Jim,
A very trivial point, but can we settle on what the title of the temporary person is? We've used the word acting and we've used the word interim and we've used the word temporary. I don't care which one it is, but can we just, purposes of minutes and all that,
What do you propose?
that's, I think probably acting. Do you have a?
I would think acting would be appropriate.
I think acting is fine. So we will now, thank you. We will refer to that position as acting. Do the other two members of the board have any announcements that they need to add?
No.
Okay,
No.
minutes, Mr. Secretary?
I finished the August 14th minutes about 11:30 today. And I sent them to you noting that I doubted that everybody was going to have a chance to review them. So I don't know whether anybody did or whether anybody wants to now, or whether you want to postpone approval of those minutes to a later time.
The chair would entertain a proposal from the secretary to postpone the reading and the acceptance of these minutes.
Okay, I so move.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right.
We will look at those at the next meeting along with these minutes. Now, public comment. I have to say that the position of how, when, and how much public comment is given at various other electoral board meetings around the Commonwealth is as varied as the 133 localities. I think the public should be actively involved in its government and its elections. And therefore, it has always been the position of the Albemarle County Board, and I hope it will continue to be so, that we welcome public comment, either electronically or in the room. We ask that you keep your comments at the beginning to 3 minutes, or we could be here all night. So 3-minute comment from anybody that wants to make a comment or have a question. The board will endeavor to answer questions rather than sit like plastic potted plants and say nothing. This is an interactive forum. This board also entertains comments and questions as we proceed through our agenda. Again, we all need to be mindful of everyone's time, everyone's busy. And so we would appreciate concise questions and comments, which we will endeavor to try to answer in a concise form. But we all welcome the transparency of our elections. And so, does anyone either in the room or in the Zoom room wish to ask a question or make a comment?
And please announce your name.
So John Zug, Circuit Court Clerk for Albemarle County. I have a question.
Thank you.
As most people should know, that once the vote is in and the vote is certified, the clerk holds and maintains the vote until such time as it can be destroyed. That is 1 year for state elections. It is 2 years for federal elections. Because we have such a good, secure facility here, where the registrar's office is, the clerk has not been historically, at least since I've been clerk, receiving the vote on the night of the election. I would like to continue that, but given the upheaval that is going on, I would like some assurances that, and so just so the public knows what the process is either the day before the general election or the morning of the election, I come over to the registrar's office. I do not swear in the director of elections, I typically swear in the chief deputy of the director of elections, which up to this point in time has been Aaron.
No,
Chief Deputy Karen's.
I'm sorry,
election manager.
election manager. And so I've been swearing in Aaron, as what she gets sworn in is as a deputy clerk of my office. Because the statute requires that I receive the vote after it has been taken. Because we have a secure facility here and where I have to store it is very far away and very difficult to get to in the middle of the night. By swearing in a member of the staff as a deputy clerk for my office, and I do it for about a 3 to 4 week term, they can hold the vote here. It actually benefits the electoral board for any auditing that they wish to do. And it gets stayed in the secure facility in the back of this building here at COB 5th Street. And then we make arrangements and it gets delivered to me. I would like to continue that because it will be logistically very difficult if the clerk's office needs to receive the vote at its secure facility at the North Side Library Warehouse. And so my question is while we are in flux, and I'm going to assume that the flux will take some time, can we agree that it's appropriate to continue to do this? Whoever you make the interim, sorry, is that the term we're using? No, we're acting, thank you.
We may have a full-time by then.
Okay, well, I will knock on wood that happens, but we may be also under still an acting registrar. I want to make sure that I can, whoever that is, I can work with that person to determine a person who will be sworn in as a temporary deputy clerk of my office so that we can continue to conduct business in that manner. Because if the answer is no, we have a logistical problem that needs to be starting to work on now. That's my
The answer
question.
is yes.
Mr. Mc- I think we ought to continue doing exactly what we've done. It's worked, it's secure, everything's locked up.
Yep.
There are certain, just to elaborate on that, there are certain things that have to go to the clerk's office that are sealed, that aren't opened. And in addition to other things that we need, the board and the office need to access during the canvass or the provisional canvass, they eventually will go to the clerk's office. So this works, I think, extremely well.
Okay,
We all are agreed. Thank you.
thank you. That's the assurance that I really needed so that I didn't have another thing on my table
Thank you.
to worry about.
You can check that off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have other public comment or questions? If you're on Zoom, please unmute yourself, raise your hand, and ask your question.
Hi, this is Rick Garnett.
Yes, sir, Mr. Garnett.
Got my hand up.
Please let us know if you're representing yourself or you represent a group.
Yeah, I'm representing the Republican Party.
Okay,
First, I want to thank Aaron for sending out so quickly the assignments for the fall. That's really helpful for us. And I had two questions.
These are
One is,
assignments for
He's talking about.
early in person.
I'm talking about the chiefs and assistant.
Oh, okay.
They got a.
yeah,
copy.
we received a list of the chief and assistant chief assignments for the fall. And I did have a couple of questions.
this is gonna be a running joke because you're the watchdog of having to remind me not to swallow my words and speak up. And so now I'm gonna ask you to please, because of our electronic system today, could you speak up just a little bit, please?
Okay, can you hear me?
My laptop.
It's the laptop, but just be advised that we're having trouble hearing you because of the electronic problem we've got in the room and with the laptops today. So
Okay. Can you hear me now?
we can.
Okay. So I wanted to thank Aaron for sending out the assignments for the chiefs and assistant chiefs so early. That's really helpful. As it helps us to identify if we have any questions. And I just have a couple. One is we still have a independent assigned as a chief at one precinct. which is, I think, not consistent with the code. My understanding, because we've worked with him, is he's a very good chief, so I don't have any problem with him being a chief. But my question is, could you get him to declare either representing the Republican Party or the Democratic Party so we're in compliance? That's my first question.
I can tell you that we have discussed this and the secretary would like to comment.
It is not outlawed by the code. The code says, and I'm paraphrasing, that an independent can serve as chief if neither party provides another chief. When Mr. Merriam was first hired as chief, we went to the officials, the election officials from both parties, and both of them said, no, we will not serve as chief. And we felt that meant the intent of that code section. And so we hired him as an independent there, which he has remained for the 7 years or so that he has been there. That's it.
Well, okay, my follow-up question then, has the board of the registrar requested from all of the current Republican election assistant chiefs if they are willing and interested to become chiefs?
Are you asking specifically for that precinct that has an independent as chief or in general?
Well, I think if he won't declare, then the solution would be to promote a Republican assistant chief to chief and replace that person, which I wouldn't like to do necessarily because I think he's a very good chief.
Well,
But that's my question.
I can tell you that the long-term Republican assistant chief in that precinct has said more than once to more than one of us, if he goes, I go. She will not step up to be chief.
Let me sort of close the loop on this. When we go into closed session today, we will be discussing the review of chief and assistant officers of election assignments. And since that is a personnel issue, we will discuss it in that closed session. And if there's a vote to be taken, of course, votes are taken in open session when we come back in to open session after a closed executive session.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to raise it as a potential issue. The other one is Nancy Muir, our chairman, had sent a list of all the election officers who could represent the Republican Party a couple of times this year. And I noticed that 2 of the assistant chiefs are listed as Republicans in the assignment, and they were not on Nancy's list. And I'm just wondering, is that a two-off mistake, or are you still using the self identification for the party representation?
I'm not sure whether I can't answer or I prefer not to answer whether it's a mistake or just an oversight. But again, we will be looking at that in closed session, and I certainly will, the board will look at that question because I think it's very valid that you ask and I appreciate it.
Would it be helpful for me to provide you the names so you don't have to dig through all of that?
That would save some time. Rick, why don't you text them to my phone? So we
Yeah.
don't have to have that here in open.
Okay,
You don't want to discuss it
Okay.
in open session, so
okay, will do. Thank you.
thank you very
That's it.
much.
And just
Uh-huh.
for the minutes, are you referring to assistant chiefs or to chiefs?
ACs.
Assistant chiefs.
Okay, thank you.
Assistant chiefs.
Okay, is there anyone else either in the room or on the electronic feed that has a question? Anyone else have a question or comment? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sally Hudson. I'm just.
Don't recognize you with a hat on.
And I hope my question can be heard with the good faith that it's intended. I would love to encourage great folks to apply for the open positions that are here. I also recognize that anytime that there is a quick set of several resignations, it raises questions. Especially, I think this particular office has an unusual oversight structure as far as jobs go in government, because it's under a board as opposed to through the broader county HR structure. And maybe, Madam Chair, maybe, I don't know if this is a question for council. To what extent is the public entitled to any more information about the context for creating these openings?
I'd like to try to answer that for you. At this time, we have been advised by council that the information that is in the public is the information that we can give. And we are constrained by other activities that are going on. We have a letter of resignation, and that's all we can say. Madam Counselor, would you like to?
No, that's correct. Cannot comment on personnel matters publicly. That's just not advisable. We cannot do that. So unfortunately, we cannot provide any additional information at this point in time.
And in fairness to everyone, that's the way it is for right now. Okay, anybody else?
Can I just a quick? Sure. Because you opened the door for right now, does that suggest that there might be forthcoming information at a later date?
I'm giving you what, and the counselor is giving you what we've got now. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the future.
We have a hand.
Oh, yes, who's on the thing?
Hi, it's Lauren Jones.
Your screen is about this big.
Sorry, John.
Lori.
My face is not smaller, I promise.
I know.
I just wanted to tack on to what Sally just said. I completely understand. I'm an employment attorney. I know exactly what you're allowed to say and not, and I'm not questioning that in any way. But at some point, are you planning a communication piece to the public with kind of discussing the totality of the changes that are happening in the registrar's office? Because right now, I think people are concerned that there's a lack of transparency, and I'm not suggesting that's what you're trying to do, but there's just lots of people chattering, and I think the public, it would be helpful to hear something from the leadership about what's happening in terms of changes and the plans to fill the office with the leaders, because you're the leadership and people are looking towards you as to why there's been a decimation of the staff. And I completely understand there's a lot of things you can't say. But I do think, I would hope that you're working on some communication pieces to the public about the plans.
We have a lot of information. The board, by definition, has to work as a board. We have to work together. We have to either discuss personnel matters in closed session and then come out in a vote. We have had a lot of information coming, and upon advice of counsel and because of timing, we have to be able
I know
to
it's been
discuss
very compressed.
before,
Yeah.
Lori, before we can make an announcement, we have to have a cohesive, we have to be able to give you correct information.
Right.
And
And
so-
I totally understand why it hasn't happened yet. I'm not suggesting that there's been any untoward delay. I'm more just hoping and putting out there that I hope there's going to be a plan for communication at some point.
As do we. And as soon as we have information that we can render, we will be delighted to do so. But we don't want to give out misinformation, and we don't want to give out information that really is
Premature.
private, or that is premature to any decision making. So that's right, that's the best we can do right now.
But we thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So how many positions are?
I'm sorry, please identify.
Oh, Margaret Malton. How many positions are in question that Laurie is referring to?
We have to go into closed session to be able to know exactly how to answer your question. And I'm not trying to be vague or obstruct the answer to your question. It's just that we have to proceed in an orderly fashion. And so personnel matters by definition are handled in a closed session, and then and that's one of the reasons we have able counsel with us today. So that we can, without invading anyone else's private information, we have to be able to proceed in an orderly fashion. I'm not trying to obstruct.
I would add to that, it is the constitutional duty of the electoral board to hire the general registrar. Other positions in the office are normally hired by the registrar because they are county employees. The registrar is in this kind of limbo category where in some ways the person is a county employee, in some ways the person is a state employee, in some ways the person is only our employee. But that is the constitutional duty of the electoral board, is to hire the general registrar. And that's the only position that's constitutionally there.
Thank you for that clarification.
Go ahead,
Yeah, and that is correct. So the code provides that the electoral board selects and appoints the general registrar. The duty then is on the general registrar to select and appoint deputies within their office. So that is the situation at this point in time.
And the code specifically says that the registrar is a county or city, if it's a city, employee. The funding for which,
No, the general registrar is not a
It's-
county employee. The
it's-
general registrar is an employee of the electoral.
correct, thank you. But not a state employee. Yes, ma'am.
And maybe I misunderstood her question, but I think she was just simply asking, how many positions are open? Is that
And
what
I
you're
can't,
asking? I mean,
It's on the
well, right now,
It's on the agenda.
right. We're coming to that on the agenda.
I thought that's.
And right, but to preempt the agenda, we have three positions that are open
Okay,
right
I
now.
mean, that's what I thought her question was, and she wasn't getting an answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand her question. Understand. Okay, anything else? Okay. I am not aware that we have any really old business. If I'm missing anything, speak now. New business. Here we go. The recruitment process for the new general registrar, the chief deputy registrar, and the election manager. Those are the three positions that are open. Go ahead. And the active, excuse me, the interim, what do we call it? Acting general registrar.
Open or will be open.
Correct.
So there's been a posting for the acting general registrar as well as a posting for a permanent general registrar. If someone is appointed as the acting, the thought is that they could be continued on if appropriate to fill the unexpired term, but that's a decision that the electoral board will need to make. To my knowledge, the chief deputy general registrar and the elections manager positions have not yet been posted because the board has not yet had an opportunity to discuss those.
Correct. That's correct. But again, yes, ma'am, one thing. The current open positions that are advertised on the county website are the position for someone who can come in and with all due haste, who knows how to run elections, who has experience, who can come in with urgency. If that happens to be somebody who wants to be considered to stay long-term, that will be a consideration. We're also looking for someone who knows they want to have the job long-term, but can't come or may not have the knowledge base to come immediately. Yes, ma'am.
At the very beginning of the market Hoffman, at the very beginning of the meeting, you said that this is a regularly scheduled meeting. Is this?
It was incorrectly stated.
It wasn't the regular monthly meeting, if that's what you're asking.
Added meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
And wait a minute, part of we are all working under new and unexpected circumstances. We follow the Code of Virginia, which requires timing for the posting of meetings. And some of our meetings fall under the emergency construct. Others are regular meetings that we've scheduled, a month in advance. So we are posting them on the website. And we are going to talk about later on in our agenda, scheduling upcoming meetings. So these are not middle of the night decisions. And that's why I said regularly scheduled. It was scheduled, it was posted, it happened.
A meeting that is considered a regular meeting must be posted 3 days before the meeting. That was done for this meeting.
Yep.
There is a provision in the code for having emergency meetings, and I believe we will be discussing that with council when we may need to invoke that particular provision.
So given what Mr. Secretary just said, this was a regularly, properly scheduled meeting with notice and posting. Yes, ma'am.
We need to hear from someone.
Is there somebody up there?
No, we need to hear from someone to see.
We are
Oh,
testing the room speakers here so that we can hear the folks in the audience at home. Would one of you please unmute and say something, please?
Sure, this is
It's
Rick.
work. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
thank you.
You can, just one moment, please. Say something again, please.
Yes, this is Rick Garnett.
And again, please.
This is Rick Garnett. I'm a broken record.
No, it's just simply not shifting over to the room speakers. I do not know why. I'll have to ask them to check it later.
And Rick, is your hand still up or is that just, you have another question or is that leftover?
Oh, no, it just left over.
Okay, thanks.
It looks like maybe Karen has a question, but
I don't think.
now she's gone.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
So to follow up, we've talked about the recruiting process. We are grateful for the assistance from HR because they are posting job opportunities as they become available to many places other than just the county website. So we are casting nets far and wide. Anyone else have a comment on the recruitment process?
This time.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there, Diane McNeil, is there a possibility of getting a list to all the places that the jobs have been posted other than the county website? You
Probably
said far and wide.
the HR department, you could call HR. They have a standard list of places where they post that other businesses and county offices send their announcements, such as, I'm not showing favoritism to any particular site, but for instance, LinkedIn. I know they post on LinkedIn, which is a business-friendly posting. Does that help?
I can call HR.
Okay,
And was Diane McNeil?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Neil?
McNeal.
Neal, thank you.
Okay, anything else on that? I want everybody to be very clear. We are trying to proceed with all due haste and appropriate postings. We've gotten applications already, which the board will consider, which is later on in the agenda.
I think we should mention that Madam Chair also posted on
I did.
what's called the EB list.
mentioned that.
Oh, you did? Okay, sorry. Right.
That was at the beginning. Okay, next item on the agenda. The board is tomorrow going to meet with our new poll pad, which we used for the June primary. This is the check-in. We used to use laptops. And we switched from that company to a new vendor, and they're called Knowing, as in KNOW. And these are poll pads, and we use them in the primary in June. The representative is coming back to meet with us to go over some questions we have and get us all ready, answer our questions, and make any alterations that we are requesting for our Knowing. Gentlemen, any?
And that's at noon tomorrow, is that?
It is at noon tomorrow.
Okay. And I assume all three of us will
Yep.
be here?
Yep. The scheduling for logic and accuracy testing. And there are two types of logic and accuracy testing that the code requires. Code requires that we test to make sure that our machines, all of our machines, and that would be the DS200 optical scans and our,
DS300.
thank you, Doug. Sorry. The new iteration is the DS300. I apologize. Thank you. And the Knowing and our handicapped accessible ballot marking devices. We have to teach, we have to train everybody how to use them, but the board and staff are responsible for making sure they work properly the way they're supposed to, and that's called logic and accuracy testing. The scheduling for the LNA testing for the DS300s that will be used in-person absentee voting beginning on September the 19th. That have to be programmed to read all ballots for all the precincts. And the DS300s that will be used in the central absentee precinct and the pre-processing of mail-back absentee ballots when the Office of Election open after they've done their due diligence to put those in the machine. And additional spare DS300 so that if we have a problem with an optical scanner in the precincts on election day, we've got backup. So all of those will be tested on the 4th of September. The vendor who is ES&S will be here. Members of the staff will be here. The electoral board will be here. And by code invitation, the chairman of the two political parties will be invited to participate or send their representative. If the party chairman cannot attend, they must send a written letter of authorization for a substitute or their proxy. And that will begin at 9 o'clock in the morning on that date. We have not set times, and we will set times for a later date when we have to do the logic and accuracy testing for all the other DS300s that will go to the individual precincts. That will be programmed only to read the ballots for that particular polling place. We are setting up, pursuant to our conversations tomorrow with Knowing people, for LNA testing for the Knowing poll pads. Oh, and we will also test, tomorrow. And whenever we set up for all the optical scans, we will test the handicapped accessible marking devices. Comments, questions? Okay. This next one is instructions for the registrar's staff. To be clear, the code requires that the people who work in the in-person absentee voting, and we are very happy that at least one of them is with us, two of them, three of them. You're working in person, don't you? No. Okay. We have two with us today and several on Zoom or on the electronic. Are technically, when they're working in the in-person absentee voting, are registrar's staff. It is highly recommended across the state that they be on election day officers of election, because it's much easier for the registrar and the registrar staff to teach these people how to run a polling place if they already know how to do it. But there will be training or instructions for those people, and that is to be scheduled before September the 19th. Comments, questions? Okay. Ballot proofing, ladies, would you like to offer comments on this?
We're in the process of submitting the ballot proof to elect. We are waiting for a call back from elect.
Okay. Elect being the Department of Elections, and to clarify the term proofing, the ballots have to be, and these ladies have worked for several days to put the ballot together, meaning all the races are listed, the correct spelling of all the candidates, whether or not they have a D or an R or an I after their names, depending upon which race.
Okay, G.
They're in.
David,
And
electoral board meeting.
we're hearing other comments here. And all this takes a great deal of time. So they look at it and it's called proofing. Just as if you were writing a book and you do a galley proof and you send it to the publisher. They proof it, they send it to the printer, and then it goes to the Department of Elections to do a final look over, make sure everything's right. The board also puts a set of eyes on it to make sure that everything is proper before it's printed. Ladies, you have any other?
I got a little bit confused there.
Okay.
You said you were working on sending it and you were waiting for an answer from them.
Okay, I'll start over. So we have to proof the ballots through our vendor first.
Right.
And then we have to upload it to elect. And then they have to approve it.
And where
Before we
are
can
we
make a
in the
ballot work.
process at this moment?
Well, we have proofed them with the vendor. And we are in the process of submitting them to the state. But there's a question that we have, because this is typically a GR task. So there's a question that we have. We've reached out to our liaison and we're waiting to hear back from her before we can submit it.
And before anybody panics,
Okay.
there is no panic here. The ballots are going to get printed. And there's no deadline right now that we're not butting up against a deadline.
No, we're on schedule.
We're just trying to be proactive and get ahead and get as much done as soon as we can get done, as early as we can get done. So
let me make sure I understand. So you have submitted it to elect, but there is some issue, so they have not yet approved it. Is that where we are in the process?
No, it's in the submission, not the approved act. Because the way, I didn't want to get in the weeds with this, but in the way that we have to submit it, it appears that we have to submit by ballot style, which is 32. So, but we have one PDF. So we have a question as to how they want that uploaded. That's it. It's no issue, no problem.
it's just a technical question. And remember that there is a finite number of people at elect who could do their side of reviewing to make sure that everything's the way it's supposed to be. And there are 133 localities. So elect is we're trying to get at the front of the line, which these ladies have done, because there's some places that haven't gotten as far along the process as we have.
And as soon as we're done with this meeting.
Yeah.
We'll
Reach out to them again.
right back, yes.
Exactly.
And the issue with the length of the candidate's name is
Has been
We fixed it.
solved
Yes.
by getting rid of the period.
Yes.
Anybody else have a question about that? We are ahead of schedule on this. And we like being ahead of schedule. So that's what we're doing. The mailing of mailed out absentee ballots. Both people who are on the permanent absentee ballots and people who ask specifically for an absentee ballot for this November general election. In the past, the ballots have been printed. They've been delivered to the office here. And the registrar staff and sometimes temporary staff are hired to put all of this together. And for those of you who've ever gotten an absentee ballot, it's not just a single envelope with a ballot in it and a returned envelope. There's a lot that has to go in. There's a lot of paper in there. Last, for the primary, Print Elect, who prints our ballots, and there are many companies around who are licensed to do business in Virginia, who print ballots and mail ballots. It's called a third-party mailing. And we thought it was a good idea to have Print Elect mail out all of the ballots that were requested before the first day of in-person absentee voting, because anything that's been already requested and the people who are on the permanent absentee ballot list, their ballots must be postmarked by the first day of in-person absentee voting. So they have to go out. Then, as people request an absentee ballot, and that's what we did for June. But the extra people who requested a ballot up to 10 days, which is the cutoff before the date of election, to request an absentee ballot. You can't request a mailed out absentee ballot after that because it's just not enough time to mail it, get it back, and then you get it back to the registrar's office by Friday after the election. Okay. We did that in-house. For this election, all of the mailed out absentee ballots will be mailed by Print Elect. So the office will send the big electronic file as soon as we have it ready to go.
September 10th is the date.
September the 10th. All those will go.
September 10th
September 10th.
is when the initial.
Print Elect needs that file.
The first file. And then there will be subsequent electronic filings sent as requests for absentee ballots arrive in the registrar's office. So it's simply loading that voter's information, mailing information. It's not anything else. Their mailing information goes to Print Elect and Print Elect mails them out. It's in the past, we have had interesting circumstances. And this seems to be an easier way to do it. And a lot of other people do the same thing. Would you like to comment further on that? Because both of you have been involved in this.
Yes, I've been working with Chris Andrews at Print Elect, and we have additional meetings set. And he had let me know that he needed our file on September 10th. And that's what we will do. We will get that file to him. I think we had previously decided to just let Print Elect do all of our ballot mailings, either for primaries. So I think that would still be in the best interest.
Anything?
Is the technical process of sending the big file, September 10th file, is that pretty much the same technical process as sending the daily files?
Yes, it's just a bigger file.
Essentially.
Except it's bigger.
So once it's known how to do the big file, it's known how to do the little files. Okay, just one clarification.
And we've done that in the past because we used
We used them last November.
Yeah.
But not for the daily.
Just for
correct.
That's why I was
Major
wondering
mailing.
about the daily, whether there was anything different about it. It sounds like there's nothing majorly different.
That's it.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
The previous bullet on our agenda, ballot proofing, what we discussed.
Yep.
But we didn't discuss the ordering. And are we going to attempt to set the order at this meeting or at a subsequent meeting?
We're gonna try to do it at this meeting, and I wanted to make sure that we discussed the mailing of absentee ballots, because that affects how many ballots we order. Everybody has to have a ballot, and in the past, there have been localities that have run out of ballots. We have paper ballots. Everybody in Virginia votes paper ballot. Gotta have a ballot. Yes, we have ballot on demand that we use in the in-person absentee. But that gets awkward if you run out of ballots in the precincts on election day. So we have the entire number of people we expect, and nobody knows how many people are gonna vote. But we have to have a ballot for everybody if they want to vote. A certain number of people will vote in-person absentee, and they will be voting with the on-demand printers. So they come in, they check in, the registrar's staff member, who is an officer of election on election day, checks them in, hits the key, print ballot, and a ballot comes off out of the machine. Well, clearly, we don't need to order ballots for everybody that's going to be in the in-person absentee. Now, again, we don't know how many those will be. But we can kind of extrapolate from previous elections. Then we know how many people have voted absentee in the past, and you always pick the over number. Never underestimate. Those ballots will be sent by print elect, but we have to tell them how many we expect. And then we have to say, okay, how many people do we think are going to show up on election day? So we have to put all this together, and you have to take into account that maybe people make mistakes. They mismark their ballot. They get a mailed out ballot and they change their mind. They want to vote in person on the machine. So their mailed out ballot has to be spoiled. It doesn't get used. It goes in a big envelope that says spoiled ballots. So we have to take into account all of those numbers. And let us not forget that, as Gina alluded to, every polling place has a different style of ballot because they have to be reported. All of the votes, according to the law, have to be reported by the polling place or the precinct in which that voter resides and votes. So there's no sloshing. You can't take ballots that were printed for Woodbrook and send them off to Stony Point because the machines won't read them. The directions from elect, here we are at the final. The directions from elect have been for years that we print 100% of the registered voters. And as these ladies well know, as the board knows, you can't just say 100, we've got 90,000 roughly registered voters. You can't just print 90,000 ballots. You've got to go by how many ballots you think you're going to need in each precinct, meaning how many registered voters. And Bucky, excuse me, Mr. Vice Chair, kindly went through somewhere and printed up how many registered voters there are in each precinct. Good job. So we know how many 100% is for each precinct. So gentlemen, now that I've prattled on, what do you?
Are we into a discussion about this?
Yes, we are. That was the prologue.
I believe the normal order form has how many flat ballots you want, how many folded ballots you want, And the normal order form is sort of made up for people that are doing everything themselves.
That's
The
correct.
way that order form is laid out. Um, we should not need any folded at all.
Correct.
I do want to ask the question, you said an answer, but I just want to clarify. All those absentee ballots are never leaving North Carolina. Do we still have to put on the order form how many of those we want them printed? Because they print on demand.
We
And,
still need to have backups for early voting,
Yep.
at least
well, no, well, I know that.
Yes.
But I'm just talking about,
the folding.
I'm just talking about what stays in North Carolina and never comes to us. Do we actually have to put a number of those by precinct? Or do they just, because I believe they print it all on demand?
So,
That would be for mail to us from Elect for the folded, so I don't think.
Sorry?
We would need to put an amount for the folded, but the flat and the ones that will be going to the precincts, we still need a number for those.
So you're saying we do not need to report a number to them of how many they are going to need to send out in the initial and the
Because they'll
daily?
get that information in the file or that's uploaded on the 10th.
she will
Yeah.
tell them how many registered voters we have in every precinct. And how many, because she's sending the giant file, so they know how many permanent absentee they've got.
It's a file of the permanent and.
Right. Once the file is sent, they'll say,
Yeah.
okay,
I need-
Woodbrook precinct, we need 356, and they'll print the 356.
Yes.
We don't have to tell them, print 500 for what you will need.
No,
So that's where I wanted to get the clarification. So all we need to tell them is what we need for election voting and what we need for possible surplus in case our ballot on demand printers goes down.
Sure.
So we don't need to order 100% because that's way over the top of that. I was just working on it in my head and assuming, well, the absolute most voters total we will have would be 80% because we've never hit 80% before. I know they say we're 100%, but just looking at that 80% idea and a conservative estimate would be that 30% of those would either be absentee by mail or early in person. That's conservative, I think, for a governor's race. That number goes way up for how big the race is. So for presidential, it goes up to 50 or over percent. For a small election, it might be 20, 25%. So I'm conservatively saying 30%. So if we took that 80% figure and subtracted 30%, then that are ballots that we don't need to order. They're either the ones that stay at print elect or the ones that come out of the ballot on demand. And that leaves us with 50% and an overreach for whatever emergencies may happen. I'm thinking 10%.
10% what? That is what?
10% extra over the other figures that I've put. For the ballot on demand printers failing or something like that. So that would total 60%. So just as a starting shot here, I would suggest that we order 60%. One problem is, of course, what we need in this precinct is way different percentage-wise than what we need in that precinct. But we've never really asked you to go through and say, okay, Biscuit Run only votes half as much as Ivy and that kind of thing. So forgetting that, I'm just saying a round figure of 60% of total registered voters be the order. Had to start somewhere, so I started with that.
Okay, and I would have to comment
Oh, please do.
that in the last gubernatorial election 4 years ago, Albemarle County ran out of ballots at roughly 10:30.
Oh, yeah.
It was cluster chaos, and it was raining.
But there was
To
a
quote,
different set of
to understand,
circumstances
we
in that.
have, we're not printing, we had to take out ballots to mail out absentee. But
And we
to
did,
quote,
we did not have ballot on demand.
and we did not have ballot on demand printers. But I would say, to quote a very smart friend of mine, who is an attorney, paper is cheap, lawyers are expensive. And I agree with you, Jim. I don't think we need to print 100%. Because as you have outlined, there are places where they're being used elsewhere. But I don't want to under count. Just I'd rather throw away
either.
ballots and have
No.
Clerk Zug shred them. But
I don't either, but, and I certainly was very much involved in that time when we did not have enough ballots. But we now do have, and we did have one subsequent time to that one precinct in a dual party primary.
Yep.
The order kind of got reversed. We were gonna run out, but because we had the ballot on demand printers by then, we could print more and get them out there. So that solved that little problem. But I'm just throwing out something that I think a 60% order for us is going to be much more than we need, but if you all want to go up from there.
Bucky?
I bet Bucky has some ideas on this.
Looking at the last general election in November, we had 67,224 votes counted. 39.5% of those were in the cap.
Yes.
45% of them were on election day. We had 11.5% of the votes came in through absentee ballots. Another 3% were provisionals. And there was another 1% that was post-election.
And what was the election day?
Are you saying you can't hear?
The total count on
Repeat
election
those
day
again.
was 67224.
I mean, 45%?
45% were votes cast on election day.
Right. Okay.
And between the cap and absentee ballots, that was 51% of the votes cast. The remainder were provisionals, post-election voting. But 67%, the 67,000 represented about a 73% turnout of our then current number of registered voters, which has gone up.
And we've explained what that last statement means.
We have, 85,000, 86,000, 87,000 registered voters. It goes up all the time, it seems like, despite periodic winnowing of people who've moved on, whether to another plane of existence or to another state. Some voters come off, some voters come on, but the general trail of voters is that it increases each election. So when I consider all those things, and I consider that when I was working in the precincts twice, I ran out of ballots. Fortunately, one time it was really at the end of the day, and we got by using the
Handicap.
exactly the handicap voting system, the express vote. You don't want to put anyone in that place in that situation. If you assume that we have a 80% turnout, which would be fantastic for gubernatorial turnout. Let's assume we have an 80% turnout and we've got 90,000 voters. Okay, so 80% turnout of 90,000 voters is 72,000 voters. If we further assume that on election day, we would need at a minimum 45% of those, but let's say it's 50%, just to make sure we had a little margin there, then the minimum number of ballots we need for election day only is 36,000 ballots. 50% of that 72,000 I just got you to. You're going to want a lot more than that. because you've got to be prepared for systemic failure of all the early in-person on-demand ballot printing, which is a convenience for checking in people. It's not really saving us money. It's just a convenience for the check-in process, guaranteeing that people get the ballot that's proper for them based on how they were checked in. My tendency would be to have a lot of ballots ordered, because I'd rather have more ballots I didn't need that I had to store than ballots that I did need that I didn't have.
Well, I proposed 60%. Do you have a figure that you propose?
Remembering before you answer, remembering,
60% of what number, Jim?
thank you.
60% of total active voters.
Of the registered
The
voters.
registered vote. Yeah.
Remember, we've got, to clarify what you said, we have active voters and we have inactive. The people who are on the inactive list can switch from inactive to active simply by contacting the registrar's office or appearing on election day,
Showing up.
and they suddenly become active. So you have to look at all the active
Well,
voters.
there's, yeah, the voter figure we're using, total voters, includes the inactives.
87,000, which
That
could grow.
includes inactives.
Right? Yeah. More people will register.
I think I'd push you to at least 70, maybe 75%.
I would too.
Does staff have an opinion?
I mean, I know John has limited space, but I would rather have more ballots than less. 70% is not much more than 6.
Well,
Ballots
I
are
would-
cheap, lawyers are expensive.
I would go with 70%.
Of the active,
No,
total.
of the total registered, okay.
That-
do we hear any more discussion on going to 70,000? 70%. 70%
So that's each precinct.
of each precinct.
70% of total.
So 70% of what, 70%, okay.
Right.
Do we need
We need,
a motion?
we do. Becky, would you
Okay.
like to make that motion?
I'd like to move that we order sufficient ballots to provide at least 70% of the registered
Total-
voters
total
on a
registered.
per precinct basis.
May I offer a restatement for the record? 70% of the total number of registered voters for each precinct.
Yeah. So we got-
Okay.
That's. I don't want any confusion. Okay,
Well, that was rather painless.
well, I mean, I think it's important for everybody to understand there are a lot of moving parts. You can't just pull a number out of your ear and say, this is how many ballots, and then you get to election day and, oh, whoa, we made a mistake. Too late then.
That's a bad day.
Yeah. For a special election, just so you understand how bad it can be. The city of Lynchburg, and I will continually call them out, they should be called out. There was a special election in the city of Lynchburg for the seat that was going to determine who controlled the Virginia Senate. Senate was split even numbers of R's, even numbers of D, and they were having a special election for the empty seat. And the fact that there'd been a snowstorm the weekend before and everybody's worried about plowing their lots. Lynchburg, and one of the candidates lived in Lynchburg. They ordered 5%. And they ran out of ballots about 7:30, 7:45 in the morning. I mean, ran out.
Just to be clear, we were talking about 70%, not 7%.
5, yeah, we're talking about 70%. So just,
Okay.
and once you've been through that, you'll never want to be there again.
Chair,
Yes,
there was a
please.
motion on the table, but it was never seconded. No.
Yes, that's correct. I had to finish the discussion. I'm sorry.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay,
And we have been told before that in a three-member board, there does not need to be a second on a motion. Is that correct?
okay.
I've heard, I don't care one way or the other, but I've heard speakers that that's true with such a small board.
Robert's rules, parliamentary procedure. Okay, all right. Now, we've gotten through the printed agenda. Mr. Vice Chairman, you have a topic you'd like to bring?
Yes. I'm thinking that for the administration of things up until the point where we have an acting general registrar in place, it might be convenient for the board to divide up responsibility areas of things that need to be done in the near future, such as getting the DS300s ready, getting the poll pads ready, the ballots topic, getting the cages ready, managing the EOs, early voting, absentee processing.
They can't hear you.
Let me start again.
Thank you.
I can hear you fine. I don't know what you're coming through great.
Gina has the mic covered up. It might behoove the board to divide up some general responsibilities in the GR office between various topic areas of things that need to be done. And not necessarily that the board's doing this, but there would be a point person on the board for making sure these things were getting done, at least until such time as we have an acting general registrar in place. And the general areas that I was thinking of involve the DS300 preparation, poll pad preparation, the ballots.
Can you do these slowly? For
Yes.
purpose of
The scribe here is,
DS300 prep,
Poll pads,
poll pad prep.
ballots. Cages, which means not only their contents, but getting them there and back again. Officers of election, which is the whole range of things there, training, et cetera. Early voting administration. Absentee ballot processing. Making sure we have someone in the office who has Veris access at all times, such that we need. Staffing the pickup and drop off process.
you may need to clarify that one. Staffing of pickup and processing of what?
Chiefs pick up.
The chiefs, the pickup and drop off that happens before election
The
day
day, okay,
and on
got
election
it,
day.
okay.
Where the materials are distributed
Got
to
it.
chiefs and then collected
Got
back
it.
again. And ensuring that the polling places are ready for us. And there may be others as well. This is just my first shot.
Well, I would quickly add a couple. One is dealing with trucks that deliver the cages.
That was on the cages
That's
list.
the cages list, all things cages.
And the other is poll pad, splitting that into two things, the poll pads and the ballot on demand printers.
They're different.
So really election
Very
day
different.
poll pads and early in-person voting systems.
Right.
Which are poll pads and printers. Sure, they have different timelines.
You said something right after staffing, and I asked for what kind of staffing, and then there was something before. Did you get anything in there, Joe?
I've got before staffing,
After
chiefs,
staff.
after staffing, ensuring polling places.
Polling places, checking the polling places. Thank you. That's what it was. Very important.
Well, I think this is a good idea because nobody can do it all.
No, nobody can do it all.
Well, not on a part-time basis anyway.
And I think we need to, as we figure out who does what, we need to all kind of be in regular, kind of give a daily or twice weekly update of this is how it's going, or
A lot of these pieces interlock.
And just so we're clear, because we don't want to be in violation of meeting rules, which is why We are so grateful for your presence. This is gonna require communication. I did yuppity yup. Have you taken care of whatever? I don't see that as a violation of a meeting. Because we're gonna have to have meetings anyway. And it might be that what we need to do is, because we're gonna have so many meetings, which is another topic. We may need to, instead of giving email updates, bring our updates to those meetings.
Yeah, I think, well, if there's a regular update at a meeting, of course, that would solve that question.
Exactly.
I think if it's a point of just, I've completed this, I've completed that, that's not the transaction of business, that's just a notification. So I think an email would be okay. But I would also then recommend that there be just a report when we do have a meeting about what's been done and when it was done.
And along that, if you're saying I've completed it, that's great. But if you find a problem.
Yeah.
You say, I've encountered problem, whatever it is. Just noting that until we can, to be discussed at our meeting.
Yes. I think there's a question.
Yes, so,
I don't know if I can.
sure, go ahead.
Some boards don't let board members talk except with each other unless everybody's present. Is that true for this board?
This is exactly,
Is that what
this
you're
is
talking
what we're
about?
discussing.
Exactly. So they can't conduct business. There can be an informational, just, I've received this. That's not the transaction of any sort of public business.
And just to supplement that a little bit, we are at a great disadvantage, electoral boards in Virginia, because we are 3-member boards. The Board of Supervisors, which is 6 members, any 2 members of that board can talk to each other and make deals with each other and all sorts of things because they are not a quorum. Any 2 members of us talking together are a quorum, and that makes it a meeting. So it's something that has tied our hands in many, many situations, but that's the way the system is set up.
Should not be construed as wishing we had more board members.
No,
Well,
and we can, the things that are clear that we can do is add an agenda item at any time. And we can call a meeting, any member of the board can call a meeting and notify the other people it's got to be posted. That we can discuss. We can discuss, if somebody needs to have, quote, an emergency meeting for whatever reason, one of us can contact the other 2 and say, we need to have a meeting for whatever. What are your available times? Can you meet at 11 o'clock on Friday morning? That's completely legitimate. You can't start discussing the ins and outs of the emergency meeting.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice
We
Chairman.
have a question.
Division of labor that you just went through, is that a result of not having a registrar?
Yes.
Exactly. Almost all these things.
And you
taken
don't,
care of
and
by
there
staff.
is no deputy assistant registrar?
As of today, we have a chief deputy and a deputy. We have other people in the office. But we're gonna go into closed session because that may change. That may change. And to your question, which is spot on, as Jim said, these are mostly duties of the registrar and or the registrar staff. And are not things that some boards would normally be doing. But because we're short-staffed right now, we're gonna have to, everybody push the cart.
Yes, to amplify that, these are not things that I wish this board were doing, but I see
No,
no
no.
other solution
Right.
to get us to the finish line that we're responsible for.
And Mr. Vice Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I think this is very good. I see two ways to go with it, and I would like to ask your opinion and Madam Chair. That either we individually pick which ones we want, although that means something like make one, or that you assign them, as long as we are willing to accept your assignments.
I think once we approve the concept, my suggestion would be that we then have a brief discussion, because people's individual interests and capabilities may define who's best suited, and if there's a discussion, we can always vote on who gets something.
Do we have time to have that discussion today?
Do we have time not to?
Well, I would say yes to both of those or no to both of those, depending on your perspective. I mean, we are going to have to set a series of meetings. Today's Thursday, right?
Today is Thursday.
Just this week is Friday yesterday. I would submit that we all look at this list. And when we have our next meeting, which will be scheduled before we leave here today. Yeah.
I know my days are numbered, but if you schedule a lot of meetings and want the staff that is here in the meetings, then who is going to be doing the work?
You know, there a lot of the meetings that we will be having will not involve staff at all.
Okay,
It's a very good question, though.
But it's a great question.
Yeah.
just looking at.
Hard to get anything done if you're sitting in a meeting.
Yeah. Okay. that's it.
So if I may make it
That's
friendly.
fine. We'll
friendly
pick it
amendment.
up at the next meeting.
Is that okay?
And add anything else to
And-
the list that is missing.
And if you come up with an addition to this list, and Jim, maybe you could,
If you all see some of these
Yeah.
areas of omission, we would love to hear from you as well.
And I can type up this list for you.
or Bucky, since you started the list, would you like to type it up and send it around?
I'll send it around after the meeting.
Okay. Is that reasonable for everybody?
I'll send it to EB3.
No, we've got it. We're having a cleanup on aisle ED3. I talked to IT. It's
Is there an agenda item that was not mentioned?
EB3.
I'll send it individually to all the
Please.
people I can think of who need to have it.
It would need to go to the 3 board members, I think, and the 3 staff that are here.
Okay,
Because we're asking for your input. There may be something that we need to help you, which we have said over and over and over. That we haven't recognized.
okay.
What are you saying about EB3?
The batch email list that's EB3 still has Lauren on EB3. Still has Jonathan.
But Lauren has no access.
She can't know. But it's being cleaned up. So I think until we get it reconfigured, we need to probably not use
Supposedly
it.
doesn't have Jonathan on it.
It doesn't. As of today, we got to check. IT has been notified.
All right, so the plan is to get a kind of finalized list and then make our choices and then discuss them at the next meeting. Is that what I'm hearing?
And add anything else to the list that needs adding, if that's what you're hearing.
Might make like first, second, third choices too.
Rank, choice, voting.
Or Sally.
She's gone. Okay,
All right.
um,
I don't know that we need a motion to approve this plan. I think it's
I think
something
we're
we're
ready to
doing.
go. Okay. Okay. Do we have any other items that we have not yet? Yes, sir.
It's not an item, but it's observation, and I asked the attorney to stop me if I'm out of order. But just observation, but isn't it ironic that, the general register, the general and deputy register, and the election manager, all three resigned simultaneously? And then my follow-up to it would be, are there any internal or external forces that may be driving this?
They did not resign.
We are not commenting. on
We're not gonna
personnel
comment, we're not gonna
Okay.
comment on personal matters. Thank you, Becky. Yeah, thank you. Okay, any other items that we need to discuss?
Before we set
Before,
meeting schedule,
yes,
let's set a meeting schedule.
okay. Grab your calendars, everybody. Jim,
Hang on. Taking notes.
okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
have, if y'all have looked, we've already started getting applications.
Mhm.
I've looked through them, that's personnel, but we're getting applications. So I would suggest, and I'm open for suggestions. Today's Thursday, the 21st. We need to have, and Counselor, you may want to advise on this. I think we need to schedule at least 2 meetings every week.
Yeah, I was going with every other day, but
Okay, or 3, you want to have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday? I don't care.
that works for me.
Monday,
I don't
Wednesday,
know about
Friday,
Jim.
because we can always cancel.
I have a special meeting on the 27th in
Is this in
addition to,
addition to your luncheon?
yes.
Okay.
This is
And
Monticello.
we can't schedule for Monday. We don't have enough days.
Correct.
But there will be more Mondays.
Correct.
There will be
That's
other.
correct.
Well, Tuesday, the 26th.
There's a cybersecurity web, whoever. And I think at least one of us, I was planning.
I've
you were
got the
gonna look
invite
at-
to it.
I've got,
so
yeah, I do too.
I'm not going there.
I'm not
driving.
driving, no, we're doing this electronic.
What time is that meeting?
It goes from 9 to 2.
So
Can,
whatever. So I think if we wanted, don't think we want to meet before 9 o'clock. It's Jim.
well, we
Yes,
won't
yeah.
get much done. It'll be longer than that.
And if we,
5 hour. That's too long. How about
it's not my meeting,
No.
it's their meeting.
I reserve the right not to stay on if
Right.
it's not productive.
So how about if we meet Tuesday, 2:30 to 5 or 2:30 to whenever we get through,
Can we just
start at
can we
2:30?
say 2? Make it
2 works.
Okay. 2 o'clock, and we will meet in the boardroom. Because this will be, Counselor, for the purpose of reviewing the applications. This will be personnel.
Sure.
We can have an open meeting. If anybody wants to be there and make comment, we'll have an open meeting, and then we'll go into executive session.
Yeah, but the vast majority of our business will be personal.
Absolutely.
But if we have any open business to transact, we'll do.
We
this
can do
first.
that. Because if we come to some clarification on our tasks and assignments, that's open public, so we can do that first.
If you show me how to make that thing connect to Zoom and hook up with the room, which I already know how to hook up to the room, you don't even need to be there for
Right.
that. I mean, you're welcome to be there, but to answer Aaron's question,
To set up a new Zoom account person,
Okay,
so that probably would be in the best interest of someone.
Because it's Lauren's.
Because it's Lauren's.
That's why her
account,
name's.
And why you could run, we don't know the password.
is
So
that done through IT?
I'll put an IT help desk
Thank you.
request in.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know that IT, because it's something that we pay for as well as a department, so I'll have to look into that for. I don't know.
Well, I've got a Zoom account, but I don't know that it would be smart to use it. Does it matter?
We'll figure that out.
IT consult.
Okay, so we are scheduling a meeting for 2 PM on the 26th. Can we go ahead and schedule a meeting on the 28th, Thursday?
That's the plan.
Right, do you
I
want a
would-
9:30 meeting on the 28th.
Madam Vice, Mr. Vice, do you want to do 9:30 or 9 o'clock on the 28th?
I'm looking for either.
Jim, you suggested 9:30, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, 9:30 on the 28th, 2 PM on the 26th.
These are public meetings, correct?
They start as public meetings, and if there's public meeting to do, we'll do it. Then we'll go in, primarily, these are gonna be
Say
personnel.
9 or 9:30 Tuesday.
Jim says on
I mean, on
Thursday,
on Thursday.
9:30.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to September. Remember, we are in crunch time. And the first Monday is Labor Day.
Well,
And we have LNA testing on the 4th. We could have one of our meetings after we finish with LNA testing, except it's gonna be hard to post it.
That's gonna be a long, because you're doing the cap.
LNA testing is gonna take
It's,
us.
it may
long
take,
time.
well, that's why I'm
Because it's
asking.
it's the big test decks.
I know, I'm just. So we should meet on Tuesday. Tuesday, 9 or 9:30.
Tuesday, I'm
Will you-
be working at Monticello.
Okay, what time do you get off from Monticello?
3
Okay, what is,
till 4. Day,
well, I'm supposed to be, I have a reasonably important meeting at 10. Could we do Wednesday in the afternoon,
mm-hmm.
1 o'clock?
1:30.
Bucky?
Yeah.
You're looking at Wednesday the 3rd?
Yeah, Wednesday's fun.
Okay, 1:30, Jim?
Both to go that long.
Go, I am too. I couldn't agree with you more, because our meeting is the 28th, and we don't have anything else until the
We
3rd.
will close the position that's
I
open
understand.
on the 1st. The acting GR position is posted through the 1st. That's when that position listing closes. So I would expect all the applications we have received for that will be in hand by the 2nd. It would be good to act as soon as possible.
I agree with you completely. Because remember, we have, as they say in the meeting trade, a hard out Friday the 5th. Just,
Yep.
we hard out Friday the 5th. So when are you working at Monticello?
1:45, 3.
I don't want anybody to get upset, but I agree with Bucky 100%. Would you be, Jim, would you be opposed if Bucky and I started Tuesday afternoon earlier than when you could possibly be there? And it may be that we'll just go through and, no, not a chance, or yeah, that's a great, whatever. Subject to your review.
So
I don't want
you
to,
all started at like 2.
Bucky.
Anytime that afternoon.
That would
Anytime
be
that after-
okay, and
Okay.
there's a decent chance that I can get out earlier.
I mean, I understand your obligations, but I agree with Bucky that, we've got this hard out. So Tuesday the 2nd, we're gonna meet at 2.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. And then,
Could I ask real quickly, excuse me, the meeting you're just talking about on 9/2 at 2 o'clock, is that going to be an executive meeting about the resumes you receive, or will there be public meeting as
well,
well?
all of these meetings will open as public meetings.
Right.
Whether we have anything significant to do before we go into closed session depends on the day and what we've got, what shows up. We're scheduling, Lori, we're scheduling these meetings at advice of counsel. That we schedule all these meetings, we can always cancel one of them.
Right.
There's nothing there. But we don't want to back ourselves into a corner of saying we don't have enough days in advance to schedule a meeting and we need to have a meeting.
No, I'm not questioning the schedule. I'm just wondering if you were right now saying we're going to go right into executive session, that would be helpful. If I understand, you might have other agenda items. I assume those will get posted, and then that answers my question. Thank you.
I mean, we've got this long list of jobs that we've got to do, and it may be that we'll need to report. Somebody will say, you know, something on one of these reports that we're all work our chore list. So does that help? Lori, does that help?
All right. Yes, it does. Thank you. And you said it was going to be 9-2 at 2 o'clock. Is that what you said? Or did you change it to earlier?
Correct. 9-2, 2 o'clock. And then we're doing LNA testing on the 4th. It might be advisable if we schedule something on the 5th. What are you thinking, Becky?
I have a question for our council. If we bring a candidate in,
Yes.
need we schedule a meeting?
Yes,
before?
yeah, there would be a meeting that would be scheduled, but you can go directly into executive session.
But we still need to have 3 days' notice to bring a candidate in.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would suggest on Thursday, the 28th, we look at the schedule again and put more meetings on the calendar at that time based on what we're seeing in the candidate pipeline. So that if necessary on, after Tuesday, we might immediately want to have another meeting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 on Wednesday. I don't know.
Yep.
Depending on who we're talking
And
to
when
and what's
we-
going on.
And when we go into executive session, I would like to raise the issue of emergency.
We-
To do that.
Let's hold your thought. Okay, so we are going to have a meeting on the 26th at 2 p.m. That's a Tuesday. We're going to have a meeting on the 28th, that's a Thursday, at 9:30.
Mhm.
At that time, we will
Post further meetings.
post further meetings. And we have a scheduled 2 p.m. meeting on Tuesday, the 2nd.
Yep.
And we have LNA testing on the 4th.
And yet to be determined if we want to continue
And-
meeting at the end of that day.
And we'll, exactly. Should we, Counselor?
Schedule something for the 4th. That is a decision for the board to make. I don't think you need to make it right now because you'll be meeting twice.
Between now and then.
Yeah.
3 times.
Okay.
And as Aaron pointed out, I would foresee the LAT lasting until early evening.
I hope not.
Well, it did the last time.
Well, I
Did
know.
it?
I understand.
I'm getting faster at that though.
We're gonna be. we're gonna
Yeah,
be
but now
better.
you got a checklist. Check things on.
That's good.
Machines come up.
All right.
Exactly. Okay. Anything, we're happy. Madam Counselor, you're happy with the way we scheduled these?
So far, so good.
Okay.
We'll just
Anybody
make
else?
sure they get posted. The meetings just need to be posted.
Right. And right now, Aaron, you are posting, not right this second, but you're gonna post these meetings for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Rick. I have a question or a comment
Yep.
about scheduling. With all these meetings, it's very important for the public to know what the agenda is, because if you have no public portion to it, there's no point in us doing that. And I noticed in today's meeting, when I went online, the agenda items had nothing to do with what you actually did today. It said review of teaching manuals and PowerPoint slides, scheduling and office matters. And so it's very helpful if what you're really going to do is shown there so we know if we want to attend.
Yes.
Rick, with all due respect, and I'll let Bucky answer this also. With all due respect, everybody is we are in maximum output mode in trying to get things done. And the most important items we put on this, the review of teaching manuals doesn't have to be done this week. And that's why we,
Yeah, I'm not suggesting it was. I'm just saying it's helpful if we know what you're really gonna do so we can decide if we want to come or not. That's all.
Rick, we're
I'm
all
not
about
saying you should change the
transparency. We'll
schedule.
try to do the best we can to keep that updated.
Yeah, thank you. The other thing is, one other thing on scheduling, you had mentioned that the early voting training would be scheduled. It's already scheduled. It's on September the 9th. We got a notice several weeks ago about that. And I think
I'm
I said
aware-
that last meeting too. So
there
it's on
are
the 9th.
there are other problems that are intervening. I did not in any way intend to imply that that posted would be deleted. But we've got to work on that.
So it's still scheduled for the 9th?
It has not been deleted.
Okay,
But it may.
thank you.
May need to be changed. Anything else?
But I
Items.
move a small break.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. It's 5 minutes after 3. And when we come back, we will go into closed session with the appropriate vote.
Good morning. How do you? Okay, I ain't gonna, hey, God, if I got to go my journey. If he don't get it to me twice, he ain't getting me third time. Yeah, I'm gonna be with the devil on the third.
Wow.
What's that
What he
council lady's
said.
name?
Oh,
What's the lady's
I
name?
don't know. What's her
The
name?
council,
The council,
the attorney.
I'm gonna say Andrea.
No.
I wrote it down.
Andrea.
I'll see if I wrote it down, but I don't remember.
I don't think she like my question.
I don't think anybody like everybody.
Huh?
She didn't answer you either.
No, it's like on the close.
I got a text from somebody in the audience who said, Lewis for the win again. Andrea Ruki.
I spelled.
I don't know. That's how I spelled it.
Oh.
Just so that I would know. Or I
That's,
spelled it.
that's close enough.
I just spelled it. Her name was Ruki. I spelled it Rookee. So I phonetically, just so that I can pronounce it. Ruki.
So you gonna have one of them position?
Who knows?
Hey, thank you. Oh. Let me give you this too. I know you got it, but let me give you this. Yeah, I'm gonna be up there.
Like, I'm not going far.
Do I need to see it?
I would.
Is it germane?
It's irritating. Not
Show
great
it to
content.
me and I'll, you know, you show me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Message to the news.
No, I can't. That has all.
I don't either.
Oh.
I was thinking ahead. No, I can reinvent them. I know.
Okay,
Okay, the meeting has resumed. Job, Jim, 3:15. And pursuant to code section 2.2-3711.1, the board is going into executive session. The only people who are going to be in the beginning of the executive session will be the 3 members of the board, council, and 3 members of staff. And we will discuss personnel matters, review officer of election applications, and assignments of chief and assistant chief officers for elections. Please. Yep.
I just checked, there's no one out in the lobby.
Shocking.
At 4:34. The board has come out of executive session and affirms that only those people who were supposed to be in executive session participated as was outlined. That Gina and Aaron left, and Alex, and Alex left when their part of the executive session was over. And the attorney stayed with us the entire time. And that we resolved that, to the best of our knowledge, we only discussed those things which we said we were going to discuss when we went into closed session. And according to the Code of Virginia, we have only done such bad business matters as are legitimately held in closed session.
second.
All in
Aye.
favor, all in favor, aye. Okay, we are back in open session. The board, chairman would entertain a motion from someone to accept the applications of
So
4.
moved.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Um,
Madam Chairman, I
Yeah.
move that we empower the chair to work with Albemarle HR to post job listings for the chief deputy registrar and elections manager positions.
all in favor, aye.
Now, those really need to be done with no closing date on,
Yes,
As was done with the registrar.
right.
but the temporary one. have
Temporary has a
closing
tight
date.
closing date, but the registrar is
Yeah.
until filled.
I didn't-
I did not tell
Why did it get
HR.
so tight?
I did not, that came
If
out
it
of,
doesn't work, we can expand
we
it.
can extend it.
Yeah.
He who
Sorry.
hesitates is lost.
Post. Post job listings, is that the wording?
Yep.
Or
Chief deputy and the election manager.
Can I move, we adjourn?
Do we need something that
Yes.
advises
drink.
that we are going to, well, that'd be nice, that we're going to send a letter to officers of election? Or
Why don't we wait?
That's just routine communications with.
So we don't need to say
Selection
anything.
folks.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I think we're okay and there's some logistics with that,
Yeah.
we need to we may have to get someone else to actually send the note for us.
Yep.
So,
And I did CC you on the minutes.
And we will be back at noon tomorrow. For knowing,
Move we adjourn?
all in favor, aye.
aye. Thank you very much.
You don't get a vote.
Thank you so much.
I think expressing an opinion is always encouraged. Shut this meeting down.
Thank you. Before anybody says something that we should.